So this Article 11, I don't really like the articles, to be honest. I'm not the greatest fan of them. I kind of like the provisions. Because the thing is, these articles are written quite simple, and ironically, the government likes to write complicated or intricate legislation that is not always easy to read or understand and can be quite contradictory depending which act it is. Although some of the older acts, to be honest, some of the older acts are written quite simple, but then again, in other terms, they aren't. But the thing about these is, these articles are kind of like, it's not really like the standard style or panache of the government. In fact, you can tell that this is, this is, I mean, what year is this? It's 1998. This is kind of like, it's very Eurovision. It's sort of like, it's just got like the Eurovision feel about it. It's got that whole, European Union kind of vibe to it. It's almost written as if this should be readable by someone from France or Spain or whatsoever at Citizens Advice. It's not the preferred style or presentation of the British government's usual legislature, because it's too easy to understand. You always have to be suspicious about the government if they make it too easy to understand. And usually, this is in the style of like the government web, the HM government, facts. Like you go on the website and the summary, the government advice or government policies, whatever they have on the website, when they summarise, that's it. This is kind of like, it's almost like, when you go to the government website and you want to like type in, like discrimination law, and it summarises the legislation in like simplified terms, which is usually quite misleading anyway, and not, it doesn't tell you too much. That's why I'm not keen on it, because it just, look, everyone has the right to freedom. Everyone, no matter who you are or what you're doing, right, has the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and to freedom of association with others, including the right to form and join trade unions for the protection of his interests. Well, what about her interests? There's some interpretation bends for you. I don't know what the trade union rights are to join trade unions from protecting your interests. So, well, that clearly, why would you be protecting your interest in a trade union for work? But the thing is, what about those trade? I don't like the trade union word because, like, it's a bit of a con itself. You get like Mick Lynch, going on about trade unions, but really creating the word trade union is conning the working class people, because what we're finding now is all this BlackRock Vanguard groups who are taking over everywhere. They are, it's like, lifestyle trader Greg Secker. These people are, Google, Alphabet, Facebook, Elon Musk. They've got corporate enterprises and they sell things, they manufacture, they trade, and they're all in their own union, and they run everything now. Everything that we buy, everything that any film that you watch, any magazine that you buy, there's nothing now that anyone can do that isn't strategically planned. All the shops around you are strategically planned, all the products in those shops, anywhere you could possibly want to go or get on a plane to go to is strategically planned. The social media platforms that we use to communicate are all strategically planned. And this is what they're doing now. And now they're shutting, shutting people's bank accounts down. They are, they will claim that they've got the freedom to protect their interests, which is like when they say, they take the government to court. Well, what are the interests of BlackRock Vanguard? Oh, we want to make loads of money. So to protect their interests, then we're interested in making money. Well, you've affected our profits. We're suing the government. You can't change the law in this or that because you're affecting our profit projection for the next 10 years, right? But what about the interests of humans? What about the interests of the consumer and the trade unions, the people who work there, but also the people? What are the people's interests? What if the people say, well, our interests are having cheap stuff? Our interests are having, not only trade union as the working class like to use and identify the term for their purposes, but also what about a consumer? Their interest. Well, these companies are suing the government for changing this law, but what about us? That law actually was going to make it better for us, and we've got the right as well. So, who's on when those companies take the government to court to sue them? Who's on our side? Who's representing the people to say, well, actually, no, they made those laws that way for us, because we don't have any lawyers. We can't afford these Donald Trump lawyers or any of these big lawyers who are suing the government, right? Because if we could, Andrew Bridgen, raised £8,000 or whatever it was just to sue Matt Hancock. Why isn't Andrew Bridgen saying, I'll chip in, come on, we'll take the government to court, this away, that away. The government changed the law and now the mighty empire is suing the government, this away, that away. No, actually, no, the public. No, it's Andrew Bridgen, mastermind of business and commerce, national conservatism. Well, use chip us in £80,000 and we'll take him back to court again and we'll nudge it back the other way again. This away, that away, this away, look, it's Michael Gove, his Whizbit. This away, look, he's got like it's a DJ. I want the knife, please. Can you turn it up a little bit? Gove, turn it up a bit. No, it's too loud. Turn it down, Gove. Just a minute. We're at a party. Just a minute. How many people want it turned up and how many people want it turned down? The neighbours are coming round now. Oh, it's too loud. It's too loud. We're taking you to court. It's too loud. No, it's too quiet now. Turn it up. Where's all the money coming from? Well, where the hell are these companies getting all the money from? Well, we made all the money out of you people, as Charles says, with trillions at their disposal, far beyond leaders' military-style campaign. Well, what about a charitable-style campaign, a pro bono-style campaign on behalf of the public? Come on, let's chip in, £80,000 or let's make it $1 million. Come on, let's have some group litigation. Oh, it's BlackRock Vanguard taking the government to court. Well, why would we take them? Why don't we take the government to court? The people put some money in, Oh, we don't need any money. Pro bono. Just a minute, all the pro bono. So on a Wednesday afternoon, on a Thursday afternoon, we're doing the BlackRock Vanguard case. Ta-da! We're not going to do it for you on a pro bono game, on a Tuesday morning at 6 o'clock. No, I'm working for the other side. Oh, that's how it's working, is it? And we were all pottering around the trade unions, putting scraps of paper up, trying to get people to go on strike. Yes, it's Mike Lynch. He's on TV. He's Mike Lynch with no hair. He's got nothing on, black belt barrister. No. I'm Mick Lynch. I'm not Andrew Bridgen, but hey, I've got a platform. Hi everybody, I'm on Politics Joe. Oh, look, there's 150,000 people watching. Just send in £1 in a stamped addressed envelope to Mick Lynch. Oh, look, there's a big pile of money there, £80,000. Let's just go straight to court ourselves and sue the government. Ha ha, this away, ha ha, that away, ha ha, this away, my oh my. Hey, why don't we think of that? Well, because we're not rolling in money. We haven't got disposable trillions. Why don't we have a go at suing the government for, you're affecting our profits, or you're affecting our wages. Why don't we sue the companies? Never mind getting the government to, negotiating. It's the negotiator, Edward Woodward, the equaliser. Oh, just take them to court. Take the government to court, make a new law, we'll sue you. You're affecting our future wages if you don't make a new national minimum wage. I'm Mick Lynch. I've just... It's like a Blues Brothers, isn't it, in the church? As do you see the light? It's James Brown, he's on a plane. Do you see the light? We're taking the government to court for raising the minimum wage. Rishi Sunak goes 30%'s the best I can do. Affecting our future profits. We're going to sue you. I'm going to sue you. Everyone, channel the power of Jesus. Throw the pennies in. £10 million. Ooh, sue them. Sue them. We can't get the lawyers. Why? Because they're all employed by the same masters. And they won't even do it for free on pro bono. It's the Good Law Project. Joylan Mohan. Do you see the light, Joylan? Do you see the light, James Brown? Sue the government. This is it. Trade unions. Because sue them for anything. Suing the government. You can sue the government for COVID. Sue them. This is it. RFK. It's RFK. Biden won't let him talk. You're affecting my future profits. You're affecting my future voting. You're affecting my future candidacy. You're affecting my future electors, Biden. You didn't let me speak. I'll sue you due to funds. And RFK got £5 million of funds suddenly came flooding in. Make sure everyone's on an equal footing. It's civil procedure rules. Make sure everyone's on an equal footing, Biden. I'm not going to let RFK speak. Luckily, the Republican let him talk. This is it. Freedom of association with others. So we'll be lucky now. They're telling everyone, well, that'll be good in the school ground. Wait, the freedom of association with others, except in a schoolyard, with a fenced schoolyard, including the right to form and join trade unions. No restrictions shall be placed on the exercise of these rights other than such as are prescribed by law and are necessary in a democratic society in the interests of national security or public safety. Well, that's a joke, isn't it? In light of the right to petition, which is prescribed by law, actually, for the prevention of disorder or crime, for the protection of health or morals, of the protection of the rights and freedoms of others. This article shall not prevent the imposition of lawful restrictions on the exercise of these rights by members of the armed forces. Don't prevent the imposition of lawful restrictions. Well, it's not lawful when you're using the right to petition, is it? Because it's illegal to intervene or at least be prosecuted anyway. Armed forces. What are they going to do? Shoot you? You only got the right to, a person can only die or be killed if they're actually a member of the armed forces already. It's illegal to draw arms against the king, but any person, if Charles dies by accident by anything which was not intentional, like a loose fucking floorboard or something. They've probably already been through the training in the army. That's why they're all kind of like, they're all like, nudged up. They're all tapped in. They're all like, know their place. Or mysterious things will happen. It's like a grooming gang. Or for the administration of the state. Well, the thing is, members of the armed forces or the police, well, you are doing policing if you're investigating something, or if the administration of the state. Well, you're administrating the state when you're serving to pursue getting the law made or changed. And they can't use the armed forces against you for that. Well, maybe they could. Because at the end of the day, maybe they could get the army to shoot you but not prosecute you, talk about shooting yourself in the foot to get out of, being in the armed forces. They don't shoot yourself in the foot to be in the armed forces. I'll be surprised if they're using the armed forces for half these incidents set up, Yeah, well, you're engaging in state administration, aren't you? Public safety, if the prevention of disorder or crime. Yeah, well, it's only disorder and crime if it's if they don't have a right. I mean, you can be, you can be at a football match just kicking off over something and nothing, can't you? Or you can be at some music festival or something, and there can be crime and disorder. They're not necessarily administrating the state. They might not be serving to act to get a law made or changed. This one comes up on this page. It didn't show me the legislation. I'm guessing it's exactly as written like this. There's even an example here. Observer and the Guardian. Article 10 of the Human Rights Act. Everyone has the right to freedom of expression, to express yourself. I think Professor Tim Wilson will like that. Except if you're on the Fiverr website, where you're not allowed to express yourself. But then again, that's an Israeli site. Clearly in Israel, they don't have these... and a lot of, particularly if you happen to be a female English woman on the internet, you definitely don't have the freedom of expression with them. I mean, look at some of the MSNBC. Some of those MSNBC presenters now, you don't have freedom of expression with them. They're trying to get rid of freedom of expression. The right shall include the freedom to hold opinions and receive and impart information and ideas without interference by public authority. Well, isn't Biden trying to interfere in RFK? Impart information and ideas without interference by public authority. Well, just a minute. The government were breaking this law during the lockdown and pandemic because they were controlling information. I think they just did it to say they can do it. But then again, that WHO is meant to be... How can the WHO? The WHO are going to be looking to override all these. We're not going to have these soon. They're going to end up scrapping them. We've got all these companies with disposable trillions apparently suing the government just because it might affect future profits. When, what they're going to do, sue the Welsh government for making half the products illegal. Why aren't we taking the government to court? I think I think the people need to do a group litigation against the government. Never mind Black Rock Vanguard. For suppressing the freedom to give information around during lockdown, and also on YouTube. In fact, that entire 77th Battalion and 77th Brigade was in breach of this. This act shall not prevent state from requiring the license. Why does it say states? We're in England. Broadcasting, television, or cinema enterprise licensing. Has YouTube even got a license? I think it must have. It must be licensed for anyone just to upload something. It's not much of a license, though. It's quite easy to sign an account. All you do is register your email address and you can just upload something straight away. Although they're licensed to do it. It's not exactly like it's the BBC and you got to get it checked before it gets put out. Doesn't say nothing about the newspaper, though. I should not prevent states from requiring licensing of broadcasting, television, cinema, or enterprises. Hey, well, that's quite funny to say the fact that Extinction Rebellion and Just Stop Oil have been broadcasting their things and have intended to promote their campaign to try and get people to support the campaign and get evidence of public concern by people joining and signing up to their campaigns. Regardless of the frontiers. Does that regardless of the frontiers? What's Mark Zuckerberg been doing though, because he's been taking down petitioning things that he said even were debatable. This article should not prevent states from requiring the license. The exercise of these freedoms, since it carries with it duties and responsibilities. Well, yeah, duties. You've got duties and responsibilities if you are, required to fulfill functions which you have a right to engage with. Duties and responsibilities may subject to such formalities, conditions, restrictions, or penalties as are prescribed in law. Yeah, and when the law prescribes that you shall not have any penalties as well, conditions, restrictions, or penalties as are prescribed by law, or if the law prescribes that you shall not be liable to a penalty, and unnecessary in a democratic society, for people who are not engaged in interests of national security, territorial disorder, or crime for the protection of health or morals, for the protection of reputation or rights of others. Well, the police definitely trying to protect their own reputation, and so is Biden, but he can't get a worse reputation. Well, other people have got rights, well, the medical rights and so forth, the protection or the reputation or the rights of others. Well, that's the issue of Extinction Rebellion when they were in London and the ambulances were trying to get past and all that, things like that. But then they all went on strike after for preventing the disclosure of information received in confidence, or for maintaining the authority or impartiality of the judiciary. Yeah, when they've got when they're given the authority, when it's not actually made to be illegal, for disclosure of information received in confidence. Well, that's the thing. Like 38 Degrees, if you go, like we've been collecting signatures, and then like 38 Degrees won't give you your own signatures that you collected. But they're like, I created this document. I've got the data rights to it. Yeah, well, we're looking after it. You are protecting, from being disclosed when received in confidence, being disclosed, to any other random people who it doesn't concern. Who has the rights to this data? Well, actually, I don't actually think 38 Degrees have the right to the data if they're going to withhold it from anyone. It's between the person who creates it and the council. 38 Degrees are only hosting it on the website. It's almost like encrypted passwords, isn't it? When you're on forums, the forum host is not meant to be able to just, perv everyone's private messages. That's why they're private. Like they might have set up the forum, but the way that it's set up is that, all the messages are encrypted and private, they don't go into the private messages. It's their website, but they don't see people's private messages. With 38 Degrees, I don't know what possessed them or took possession of them, whether it's Dale Vince or God knows what, but they ended up where they are restricting the freedom of communication between, the people who make the petitions and the recipients, and checking messages and got pretty much running it like the Labour Party have been reputed to be running the Labour Party, really, like Starmer. I don't know who teaches, who grooms these people. Usually when they get into making money and mass donations and so forth, you definitely have the right to your own data. And then they're taking these campaigns down just because they get a bit of bad data on them. All that's the whole reason why the data's got to be there, so you can check it to see if it's valid or not, and if it's invalid, then it's supposed to get set aside. That's the whole point. But it doesn't defeat the object of the campaign, which may not even need any signatures if it's got enough facts attached to it. Could run on the merit of facts. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. It doesn't really. These clauses are a bit kind of like, they don't interest me. I was more interested in the provisions of the Human Rights Act, because if you know what your rights are in legislation, if you know what the right is legally, then obviously all these just say is they're just reaffirming it. Although it goes on about public safety and this and this and that, knowing very well that specific rights can actually give you immunity from I think it's basically trying to promote some responsibility, but the bottom line is that this is mainly applying to the general public when they're out and about normal activities, like going to football matches and so forth. Territorial disorder. Why does it say that? Territorial disorder. Why do they talk like that? Protection of health. We have any protection of health? What about all those companies who have caught? You see, this is the irony. All those food companies, right, that have been suing governments for affecting future profits. Yet, well, actually, now they're going to bring those new laws in Wales. But how about the public? Why don't the public come together and sue those companies or sue the government? Why aren't we all doing massive group litigation case against the government for X million to say that, why did you give these companies planning permission to build all these McDonald's? Like, according to Dr. Sten Ekberg, and Zoe, they're causing cancer and diabetes. Why did you give planning permission, for all these subways, blah, 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 and someone's making profit out of it. And, can we prove that, these people in the government have got shares or investments in these companies for the health of the country? These companies who are suing the government for affecting potential future profits, but no one has sued the government for affecting our future health. Future projected profits. Future projected health. Here is my dad. Here is what he's eating. Let's project the trajectory of his future health on the basis of how he's currently eating and the fact that it's near impossible for him to break the habits. Not only because he doesn't want to, but because even if he wanted to stop, he couldn't. Because, all the bird feeders have been placed in a particular strategic place, and he just, I'm a secret lemonade drinker, and you just can't say no, like a miles a day, helps you work, rest and play. I said, I just can't get enough. I just can't seem to stop. Fish shop, this is the next thing, the next challenge. Can I walk to the counter without picking up a chocolate bar? Strategically placed. There should be more suing going on, but it's optimistic now that the Welsh government, so I've heard, is meant to be doing something.